And we are off and running. Good morning, my beautiful friends. Today is Monday, November 18th. It's 7:07 in the morning, and I sound like a morning drive time radio show host. Hey, it's Patrick Allman from Stop Doing Nothing. This one's a little bit early today for the Facebook Live, so I apologize if you're heading out the door to work or to drop the kids off or to do whatever you're going to do for the day. I had to kind of knock out one early today because I got a little bit of a busy day myself going on. But like I said, today is November 18th. That means a couple of things. One, we are just about 2/3 of the way through November. Two, it's my daughter's Eve's. It's my daughter's birthday eve, if that makes sense. My awesome daughter, Lisa Almond, has a birthday tomorrow, and it's the eve of that. So that's on my mind heavily, reflecting over the amazing decades I've had with her and what her great future has planned. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about something I heard when I woke up this morning at 5 o'clock, because actually today was a little bit earlier, and sorry, I've got lip stuff all over the place here. Today was a little bit earlier. Today was more like 4:40, I think, because I woke up at 4:40 and I hem and hawed there for a while, and then I finally got up and I was well awake and out and about when my 5 o'clock alarm went off. So a little bit early this morning. But about 5:30 or so, I decided to pull up some YouTube videos from Earl Nightingale, one of the originals, one of the OGs of self-improvement, and I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of the OGs of self-improvement and personal development, because everyone you listen to now these days, whether it's me or, God forbid, I put myself on the same level as Tony Robbins, not remotely, but me or the Lewis Howes of the world, or the Tony Robbins, or anybody else you listen to who talks about personal development or self-improvement, they all came from the originals, and even those originals came from some other ones. So a lot of people you listen to these days got their stuff from the Earl Nightingales of the world. What's really cool is you can go on YouTube and watch these old black and white videos and hear stuff in their voice when they were probably recording it on reel-to-reel before it got pushed down to cassette. Probably reel-to-reel before it got pushed down to 8-track, before it got pushed down to cassette, before it got pushed down to CD, and now, of course, everything's online. So if you ever really want to learn something from an OG of personal development before it got hyped up and over-marketed, go listen to someone like, Earl Nightingale, or, I could pick any of the books out I have here. I have some books from some originals over here. As a matter of fact, let's hop over here. The Millionaire Mind. Who was this? This was Thomas J. Stanley, PhD. I've got some other books here by people that were basically, doing self-improvement. Here we go. The Immutable Laws of Marketing by Rees and Trout. The Magic of Believing by Claude Bristow, with a foreword by Nita Quabain. I've got some books here about, personal development from the OGs. But anyways, my whole point is today it was Earl Nightingale. And I was listening to a video about the really 10 rules of life, or 10 of the rules of life of Earl Nightingale. He had probably had 1,000, but in this 10, there was one that I really liked. I didn't realize I had adopted myself. And I got most of a lot of the stuff that I use in philosophy and life and business from the book Think and How to Grow Rich. And goodness gracious, can't even think of who that is by now. You guys can probably know in comment. But Think and Grow Rich. And it reemphasized something that I read in that book, the Earl Nightingale video I watched this morning. And this was the importance of being silent. Whenever we go into meetings, which I'm getting ready to go to myself in a couple of hours, or whenever we're in a conversation with somebody at dinner or coffee, we are really tempted to jump into a conversation. Somebody may lay a problem on us. Somebody may, drop a bomb on us we didn't expect. Somebody may be making commentary. Somebody may just be having a bad day and just want to riff and go off. And it's really important in these times that we remain silent. There is so much power in being silent and in listening and absorbing and interpreting, not just listening, hearing. There's a big difference between listening and hearing. Hey, Paul from Northern Wisconsin, man, how is it up there? Is it warm or cold? I got Paul Swanson chiming in here. There's a big difference between listening and hearing. And I've often been criticized if I go into a meeting. Somebody may pay me, to fly someplace and go to a meeting, and I'll sit there while everybody else talks. I'll just sit there and take notes and absorb and take notes and absorb. And I've been, questioned before, like, Patrick, why aren't you chiming in? Why don't you have something to say about this? And my opinion on this most of the time is that, when I have something to say, I'll say it. Other than that, I try to gather as much information as possible before speaking my mind and before speaking out. Number one, somebody else may say what I'm already going to say. Number two, I don't like repeating other people. If someone else puts something very poignantly, that's one of those challenging words, I don't want to reiterate it. Some people are just very good with words. Oftentimes I'm not that good with words. But also, 30s and not snowing, man, that's rough. But, at least it's not snowing part's good. 30s, it's always rough, but at least it's not 20 or 15 degrees, right? But also another reason is because the more information I absorb, the better a response I can give. Oftentimes when people are talking, I may be researching what they're saying or looking up a different solution or looking up a better solution or a solution to the problem at hand, and there's just so much value in remaining silent. So the video I was watching this morning from Earl Nightingale re-emphasized that. I learned that originally a while back, like I said, when I read Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich, there's a chapter in there, and he gives an example about how he's hanging out with a friend at a dinner party, and the friend kind of states some fact or tells some story, and the story was blatantly wrong, and he could have corrected the friend right there, but that would have also embarrassed the friend, and he can always correct him in private and basically set the story straight later. But that's something else, is that if you really don't know, or if it's going to embarrass somebody else, that's the way I like to put that. That was the lesson I got to Think and Grow Rich. If you're going to embarrass somebody else, it's better just to remain silent and talk to that person in private later, because there is no need to do that to somebody else, to put them on point like that. A couple other things that I remember when it comes to talking about being silent is I was on a business trip a long time ago in San Francisco. Had a big consulting out there, gig for many, many months. We're out there in the Embarcadero and Stewart Street area, for those of you familiar with San Francisco area. And right in that area, I had like a 2-block walk from my hotel to my consulting gig. It was a really good deal. And one of the managers there that I was working with reminded me that we have 2 eyes, 2 ears, and 1 mouth, and we should always be using them in that proportion. So remember that next time you are tempted to jump into a conversation or say something. You've got 2 eyes, 2 ears, and 1 mouth, and you should always be using them in proportion. And the last lesson I'll share with you, or the last thing you can learn from being silent, is the importance of, let's see, how was this put to me? It's better to... Listening is a lost art. Oh, goodness gracious, my good buddy Chris popped in. This is very important what she had to say. I just glanced at it, but I know she's always on point with her words. Listening is a lost art. Most people listen to respond instead of listening to understand. And, of course, everything she does has a little smiley face at the end. So very well stated, Chris. Thank you for chiming in. I always appreciate it more than you ever know. The last lesson I wanted to share with you when it came to the importance of listening is, goodness gracious, it slipped my mind right there. Somebody else, one of my many, many lessons in business, somebody else once said to me, it is better to stay silent, have people think you're a fool, than to open up your mouth and remove all doubt. And this really applies when you want to chime into a conversation, but you don't really have all of your facts straight. And you may end up looking like a fool or an ass if you say something. And it's better to just remain silent in those cases and have people think of you or whatever they're going to think of you, than open up your mouth and basically just look like an idiot, which we all do at some particular point in time. So if you ever get a chance, do yourself a favor, hop on YouTube, or I'm sure there's podcasts of it or books, and pick up some stuff from Earl Nightingale. Like I said, he's one of the OGs of personal development. He's probably one of the personal development gurus I listen to the most, because it's just, like I said, it's like the source material for every personal development person that you see these days, including me. I could probably trace some of the stuff I read back to a book like Think and Grow Rich, and he can trace his stuff back to Hiram Smith or to Earl Nightingale, any of those people. So if you ever have a chance, pick up something by Earl Nightingale, listen to it, read it, and do yourself a favor. This book gets a bad rap, but, I said Think and Grow Rich. I'm sorry. That's not the book I meant. The book I meant, I'm sorry, my brain, I haven't had coffee this morning, because if I had coffee, I'd be showing you the cup. When I've heard this morning, I've said Think and Grow Rich. What I've actually meant is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. That's the book I got that from, that one story about his friend doing something in public and not correcting him. Pick up that book. It gets a bad rap because of the name, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It is probably one of the better personal development books I have. It's a quick read. It's got like 10 short chapters on some different philosophies in life, and every one of those 10 rules I use on a daily basis. And again, that Think and Grow Rich, by the way, is not a bad book either. But the one and this morning I've been pulling my stuff from was How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. So pick that up in an ebook, pick that up in an audiobook if you can. It's an easy read, and it just gives you some general life philosophies and business philosophies that you can adopt and use every single day in your life. As always, thank you for watching. If this was useful for you, do me a favor, like it and share it. That's how you help me out. That's the best thing you can do, as opposed to dropping me thousands of dollars in consulting fees. Is you can share my content, subscribe over on YouTube, and subscribe in iTunes and leave a rating. I'm going to head out and get my first cup of coffee because obviously I'm making myself look like an ass today and I'm tripping over my tongue. Until tomorrow, when I likely will do the next video. You guys take care. Have a great, great Monday. And remember, tomorrow's my daughter's birthday, so you should buy her something really fancy. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.